Welcome back to the second episode of Maniacal Music Musings in less than 24 hours. Yeah, we're crazy like that. But I'm your host, Jeremy, as always, and I'm not crazy. But in the bedroom, for sure, I'm raw. This bandito here is coming for you behind your walls because we never have sex anymore, Chancy. This is not utopia. My co-host, though, well, fuck, I'm not introducing you. Well, maybe I will. I can't decide. Fuck! Where will I go with this pillow man that will morph and levitate within these nocturnal rainbows? He's gone away, but will return to be breaking these bones with this Hassan chop because Gere sus Kovachas. Chancy motherfucking Greif.
Hi.
You like how I said the same thing twice, kind of? Gotta love multiple languages.
Yeah, I mean, if the Offspring can do it, you can do it.
Exactly. Because I am the Offspring that listens to the Offspring. But welcome back, folks. Yes, we are live again, and your host has been smoking some of that good stuff again. But we are back, and we are joined again by another great guest in the music industry. We are joined by Heroek, which I hope I pronounced. I'm pretty sure I pronounced that right, but
yeah. It's Heroek, just like the adjective. I just spell it a little funny.
Yeah, I actually like the way it's spelled. It's kind of like video gamey. It's kind of cool. But
yeah.
But what Heroek is actually a music producer. He's the Dr. Dre of a rapper's life. He makes the beats, and he also has his own podcast as well, which Hero's Journey. What is Hero's Journey? Because I was kind of curious about it. I didn't really have time to listen to an episode or anything, but
yeah, no, that's fine. Hero's Journey. I mean, it has a journey of its own. I started it during COVID because I was I was and still am a huge NBA fan, and I would talk to my family about it until the point that they were all kind of like, enough, because there's only so much that non-NBA fans can hear about basketball. So I actually started the podcast as a basketball podcast, and was trying to fill time talking about topics, things like that, and realized that I'm sure you've seen this, that it's sort of easier to do a podcast when it's a conversation, when you have someone else there to talk to. So I started trying to get guests on, couldn't get too many basketball related people, or whoever said yes wanted these huge budgets to come on that as a high school student I can't pay, and so I eventually started just reaching out broadly, generally, to anyone I was interested in, and it sort of shifted slowly to become more about music artists and their music and the stories behind it, but also just them as a person, how they got interested in music, sort of what they're outside of the studio, and just whether they basketball or cats or whatever, just learning a bit more about them on top of talking about the songs that we both like. So
right on. That could be a good podcast. That could definitely be good conversation right there. So
yeah,
I mean shit, we have a podcast about music, so I ain't gonna say bad shit about it, that's for sure. But
yeah.
But all right, well, as always, we ask our guests to bring an album to the show that they love or that inspired them to be who they are. And I don't know how much of an inspiration this album he brought is because it's kind of newer, but we'll let him talk about it. What album do you bring, Heroek, and why?
So I brought Trench by 21 Pilots because although it is relatively new, it was actually a huge inspiration to me.
I'm heavy, my jumpsuit is unsteady. I'm lighter when I'm lower. I'm higher when I'm heavy. Oh, I'm so high. My jumpsuit takes me so high. I'm flying from a fire. From Nico and the Niners. Whoa.
Because, I had just moved across the country when it came out, and I listened to it because 21 Pilots was my favorite band, and I was really just taken aback by how much story they told, this fictional story, this lore that was in the album, and it really showed me that music can be more than just like catchy pop songs I hear on the radio. It can sort of be a message or tell a story to whoever's listening. And so, yeah, that really interested me and got me really into like music production because they have a ton of cool like sounds and production tricks throughout the album.
Yeah, I mean, well, actually, yeah, I'll give my review first for Chancy, because I always heard of 21 Pilots. I always heard the name, saw it on concert advertisements and stuff on Facebook, and I swear they have to have a song out there. I'm sure I've heard played in stores or something. Like,
absolutely.
Because like, if I'm not mistaken, they've been around for a while, right?
They've been around for a while and have a couple like huge hits. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I'll be with friends and they're like, who's your favorite band? And I'm like, 21 Pilots, and they're like, I don't know them. And I play one of their hit songs and they go, oh, this one, they made this one. I've heard this like on the radio. And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's the feeling I have about 21 Pilots. Like, I know I've heard them before, I guarantee it. But I never actually sat down and listened to any of their work. Because I always thought they were more like 90s rock type of a band. I didn't realize they are what they are. Like, I always, for some reason, I always just put them in the category of 90s rock. I don't know why. They might not have been around since the 90s. I honestly don't know. It's just, I meant to Google a little before I did this, but But
yeah,
so, I mean,
they're a bit more recent than that, but they still are. I mean, they do all kinds of stuff across like different genres, but it is mostly like rock, alt rock stuff, I think. And so, yeah, so it, makes sense that you got like a general vibe of what they were.
Yeah, but once I came to this with a fresh perspective completely, and like once I started listening to the album, the first couple songs, I'm like, it's all right, and then like all of a sudden, like one or two songs came on, I was like, what the fuck is this? This sounds reminiscent of like Linkin Park style music almost, or maybe even Red Hot Chili Peppers like style, like to a degree with the lyrics.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say with the music at all, but with the lyrics a little bit. Like it was like kind of like that new metal of like rap rock combo. Like as soon as he started spitting verses, I was like, "What's this now? What's this?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "This is pretty good." I'm like, "I can actually listen to this." Like it's not. I mean, it's a little too mellow for my taste, which I come across a lot in this show. But I mean, it just.
I mean, it's. So I'm a big fan of them. So I watch like interviews and whatnot with them, and the singer sort of. He can rap really well and does it in a couple of his songs. But he has this one interview where he's talking about it and he's like, he just makes it seem kind of not easy, but he talks about rapping. And actually in one of these songs, he's like, people are impressed by like rappers and what they do and how fast they go. And he's like, but it's just like, when you understand music, it's just triplets. You just say that your lyrics in triplets. And he has like he played one of his songs and he's just going like da 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 da, and so yeah, and I mean it's different for him because he found out that he can say words at the speed that he can. He was saying that like as starting out as a musician, he would be like thinking of lyrics or like rehearsing songs in his head while he's walking and just like saying them to himself, and then he sort of listened to it closer one day and was like, I'm saying these pretty fast. Like, I think this is rapping, maybe. So, yeah.
I mean, yeah, I can definitely see that. And I actually like 21 Pilots. I mean, to some degree. I'm not going to say I'm going to listen to them every day, but I mean, I definitely, if it comes on, I ain't going to turn it off. And I think I actually did heart a couple of these songs into my like list. So,
yeah,
I was mildly impressed with them because I didn't know what to expect when they came on because I was like, oh, I've heard of them, but I never have listened to them. Like I always am anxious about new music because I'm just like, I mean, but it's my job with this show. So, Chancy, time for your review.
Well, I actually have heard of 21 Pilots before, but this was also my first time going start to finish with an album. I definitely came up with 5 pretty easy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have anything. We'll get there.
Well, okay. Sorry.
Yeah. No, you're good. You're good. No, you're good. You're good. You're good. But at the same time, like, you know, Jeremy definitely encapsulated a lot of things I would say. Like, it's not something I would listen to every day. If it comes on, I'm not going to kick it off. I didn't make the genre jumping connections that Jeremy did, fucking with the fucking yarn and the hey.
Yeah.
They have their own sound. It's definitely a chill sound. I can't say that I disliked it. I definitely think that there was a harder album to get through on this show than yours. Secret, it's mine. It's mine.
Oh, okay. I could go with that, but
I'm too tired. I'm too tired to fuck with you today, Jeremy.
yeah, we had a late night last night, but we don't have sex anymore. But all right. Well, Heroek, I'll let you give your top 5 off your own album first.
Yeah, I mean, this is an album that I've, been listening to on and off since its release. So like almost every time I try to think of it, like my top 5 change, but one that's always up there. I mean, I don't think I can do these in any particular order, but one that's always up there that I really love, Nico and the Niners, probably the most like story-based song, really awesome, tons of cool production in it, I think. So I like that one. Pet Cheetah is another one that like the first time I heard it, it had this like darker, like bass heavy sound, and I was like, oh yeah, I can really get with this. And then I do like the rapping on Levitate. It's, a shorter song, but I definitely like the rapping on it. And then trying to round it out, I guess I would need to put Jumpsuit on there because I did really like it listening to it, and then I saw them live and they performed it, and like hearing not only the bass part but like some of the like build-ups and the drops they would have in it just like in a concert venue was sick. And after that, I keep coming up with songs, but then I think of another one that I want to put in there. I mean, I love the whole album, but I'll put probably My Blood in there at 5.
All right. Well, it's actually okay. You just made me think of another one I forgot to put in the list because my messenger fucked up while I was driving listening to it, and like it erased all my fucking message I typed out so far. So I was like, fuck, now I gotta redo the order. But it was okay because it probably needed a little redoing anyway. But so yeah, my honorable mention. I had 2 honorable mentions actually because I just had one in. But Levitate and My Pet Cheetah were definitely honorable mentions because My Pet Cheetah was a damn good song. You're right, that song was so freaky. Like yeah. That's kind of remind me of Red Hot Chili Peppers, like the lyrics to that song, because it's like it's something like some acid-induced song they would sing. Like
oh yeah, I could totally imagine Red Hot Chili Peppers like with a song called Pet Cheetah with them like talking about this cheetah that they keep in a basement. Like it's lyrically, I definitely see how you made that connection.
I mean, they should have done that fucking song on Stadium Arcadium, but my number 5 was Morph, because that's when I heard Morph, that's when I started getting into like the city a lot. Like Jumpsuit didn't do it for me. I didn't like Jumpsuit really. Like it was too pop cliche like type of lyrics. Like it was too much like Bruno Mars, like I'll catch a grenade for you. Like fuck that shit. Like
yeah.
But number 4 was Bandito because I love that song. Like and just the title. Who doesn't like the word Bandito? It's like so gangster.
Yeah. It's a awesome word that is just like yeah.
And then my top 3 was all about like the theme of the song and the lyrics. Because number 3 was Chlorine. Like it's basically a song about.
That's one of the ones I was trying to think of to put in my top 5 because I love that song.
It's basically a song about suicide, but like done in like a happy way.
Yeah, so they have a couple of songs like that where it's like a really, really dark, sad lyrics, and then it's a bit more upbeat, like instrumentally.
Which anybody who knows my style of music knows that's my kind of shit. So
yeah, same here. I mean, I love that. I know people who are like, no, that sort of ruins it for me, and I'm like, really? That makes it better. Like, give me that if there's something like that.
Oh, you need to listen to Insane Clown Posse. But Neon Gravestone was my number 2 because that song, like the freaking beat in that song was so awesome, and like a Neon Gravestone, like just the imagery in my head while I was driving, like made me smile. Like the image of like a neon light like on a gravestone, like I'm like, that's actually what I want to be buried like.
Yeah, the first time I saw it, I imagined like just a normal gravestone, but then like almost like the open sign bars like going around the top of the tombstone. Yeah, that one I like how it really, I mean, it is a song, but it's not like commercially, it's like would never be a good idea, quote unquote, because it's not like, oh, verse, chorus. It's like sort of formless and just keeps going and going.
Yeah, I mean, it is. That's what's great about it. And you just gave me the idea too. Put a fucking big open, put a big open if you dare neon sign above my casket. But and number 1, of course, was Nico and the Niners, because that song was fucking amazing. Like that.
Yeah.
That reminds me of like a fucking classic rock song almost in a way, with like the way they did the story in it. Like I want to say like almost Bruce Springsteen-ish, or like I'm trying to think of other bands. I can't even think of them. Maybe even Aerosmith to a degree, like the way like they tell their stories in their songs. Like there's better examples. I can't fucking think of them at this time. But so yeah, those are my top 5. I mean, like I said, overall impressed with this album once I got past Jumpsuit.
Yeah.
But
right.
Chancy, I'm dying to hear your top 5.
You know, while you guys were talking, like when you brought up Nico and the Niners, and then Jeremy when you brought up Chlorine, those two stood out. Like I remembered those songs from the beats or the you know, the lyrics. Number 5 for me was actually Morph, which I thought was kind of funny. Number 4 was Jumpsuit. Number 3 was Pet Cheetah. Number 2 was Bandito, and number 1 was Leave the City.
I did not like Leave the City. Like that last song on the album, I just did not appreciate the way they ended it. Like it made sense. Like it made sense, like lyrically and like beat wise, it made sense. Like that was the last song on the album, but just like I did not like it.
It really, I like it because it does make sense, and I mean, just like purely out of curiosity, do you guys watch the music videos for these as well, or just listen?
I didn't really have a chance to check them out, but I
haven't seen it
That's
either.
totally fine because like you get enough of the story from just listening, but like watching the music videos, Leave the City makes a whole lot more sense, just like about the story of the album, and I mean, I do see it as like the album's closer. Like it's not something I usually listen to on just like my day-to-day basis, or like going about life, but I think it did a good job of sort of its job of like sort of wrapping up Trench.
Yeah, I mean, see, it would have been more my style if it was like Punisher style, like Leave the City, but leave a burning scorch behind you as you're leaving.
Like, leave the city, but leave nothing left of the city.
Exactly. That would have been more my style.
Like explosion behind you, don't look back, just walking away.
Exactly. Exactly like the end of the 2004 Punisher movie. But, all right. I think next we just might have to go and do my album next, because I kind of want to separate the genres a little bit here. And because I also don't think it's going to get shit on as bad as my album last night did. So, have you ever listened to Cottonmouth Kings?
No, I haven't. I'm a huge music fan. I'm so down to check them out. If you give me like a specific recommendation or anything, but
you're a beats guy. Just check out Cottonmouth Kings. Their beats are the best part of their music.
All right.
But and fucking Mike. But
he was really looking for me to save him. He was like, "Come on, this guy must know. You have heard of Cottonmouth Kings?"
Exactly.
Like, no.
Exactly.
I'm sorry for letting you down.
Well, yeah, you're not letting me down. Trust me, a lot of people don't know my music. That's for damn sure. But all right, well, the album I had to bring on this one for a few reasons. One, I heard yours and I'm like I started hearing. I listened to a few tracks and I heard the beats. And I'm like, I really don't have anything that would match this perfectly. I actually thought Red Hot Chili Peppers for a hot second, But then I'm like, nah, we're not going to do Chili Peppers. But I was like, you know what? We have a bracket coming up in July because the artist of the month in July is Hopsin. So I'm like, let's bring the next Hopsin CD onto the show that I haven't brought on yet. And the next one was one of his best CDs, in my opinion. At least his best CD out of the first two. And it was Hopsin's Raw.
If I was really crazy, I'd run up inside an orphanage and torment kids and beat babies' faces with bags of oranges. Fake my origin and tell people that I was born to sin. I'd go back to filming molested porn again. I would murder a nigga then steal his body from whatever morgue it's in and take it back to an alley to torture it. Study all of the Freddy Krueger, Michael Myers, and Chucky horror flicks.
Baby, is that a knife you have in your hand?
Of course it is. I run around crazy like the Afghans doing some black camp boots wearing the fucking Batman suit and screaming bitches like a fat man scoop. Then tell him to take a deep breath.
You gotta love when Hopsin, and it really is the title is perfect, but it's a raw fucking album, like as hell. Like he just no holds barred, lets loose on it because it was his first like independent album he did, and he just like let loose on everybody that pissed him off. Very reminiscent of Eminem and other hardcore.
I have so
artists.
many. At first, I was doing notes like song by song, and I had to stop myself because almost every song is like Eminem sounding. But no, I mean, I like Eminem too, so like that's a sound that I enjoy and really like.
It's funny because this is the first album by him I ever heard, and as soon as I heard it, I'm like, which I think he was a recommendation on iTunes back in the day from another rapper called Killer C. Like they recommended Hopsin based on Killer C, and I was like, okay, kind of a weird. Doesn't look like he's a rapper like that, but I'll listen to him. And I put on. And the first song came out was Sag My Pants. And I was like, who is this Black Eminem? Why have I not heard of him?
Yeah.
Like, I called him Black
truly,
Eminem for years. But
truly, I want to say, like, thank you for not making me, but like having me listen to this album because, I mean, Hopsin, so I don't know how much like you follow him or are a fan, but years ago, I listened to his interview on the Impulsive podcast. That was like my first introduction to this guy. I saw this guy with like contacts in his eyes to change color. I was like, all right, he's a rapper, you know, seems pretty cool, pretty out there. Then I'm a fan of NF, another rapper, and he has a song with NF. And so I heard him again. I was like, all right, he has a sick verse here. And this was my first time like listening to his songs, like rather than him as a feature, like his songs, and also listening to an album all the way through. And it was a great rap album. I mean, it was super good, big like old Eminem vibes, which I love. And yeah, I liked like probably most of the album. Like a lot of it was really sick.
Chancy, what's that smell? What's that smell? Redemption, motherfucker! Redemption! But yeah, I mean, and it's funny you bring up NF because our good buddy CJ Plain, the music god, actually brought NF on the show a couple weeks ago, and that was my first introduction to NF as well. And I did not know him. I never knew him and Hopsin worked together. He wasn't on the album he brought on. So I'll have to find that song definitely because Hopsin does great features on a lot of different rappers. I mean, he's done a lot with Tech Nine. He's done stuff with Insane Clown Posse. He's done a lot of stuff. I mean, Kung Fu Vampire and him did a song that was amazing. Like he's been on a lot of people's stuff, and it's just great that he's been independent like most of his fucking career. Like we'll get into that. We'll get into that when we get to the songs. But so all right, Chancy.
But he seems to have a very loving relationship with his record labels in this album.
Well, for those who don't know, on the CD I brought on last time, Gazing at the Moonlight. That was a CD he made for Ruthless Records, which was Eazy-E's record label that his wife took over when Eazy-E died. So, and just like Insane Clown Posse has problems with Sharon Osbourne, Hopsin has problems with Eazy-E's wife. Like, and oh, hey Aaron, sorry, I forgot to pop that up a second ago, but glad you're watching. And so yeah, he has a lot of problems with Eazy-E's wife, and she basically. Because my first actual introduction to Hopsin was in a movie called Max Keeble's Big Move that came out in like 2005. And Hopsin just played like the freaking guy behind the counter every time they went to the convenience store. Like he had the freaking contacts in with like the white eyes, and that's how I remember him from that because of the eyes. Like that's one of the best things he ever did because it gave him recognition, like for something unique. But yeah, so he has a lot of problems with Eazy-E's wife and Ruthless Records. They put him on the shelf for like fucking 12 years. We could have been hearing Hopsin since like the early 2000s, but no, people want to fuck with him and deny us this great rap god he is. I mean, I have friends in the podcast world who, when they put their top 10 rappers out, Hopsin's on that list. And that's probably the reason we're doing a bracket for him. But because he has, and it's 50 of his songs, and they're all fucking incredible. And that's going to be the fun part of breaking that shit down. But Chancy, I'm dying to hear your review because I know the last CD you liked, but you said it wasn't amazing. But I think this one hopefully will change your perspective a little bit.
A little bit. I mean, I wouldn't say redemption. That's a pretty long way to go after the fucking just diabolical shit show that you had last night. I'm just saying, friend. But, I mean, in contrast, that's kind of, I mean, you brought me shit. Now you brought me, roast beef. Fucking.
Well, as long as I didn't bring you roast beef curtains, but.
That, well, draw the curtains back. It'll be all right.
Put those clothes against the wall, mama.
Jesus Christ. I mean, I didn't have trouble getting through it. So there's a plus. I mean, you notice how hard of a time I have saying nice things about his albums? I'm like, okay, let's think of something nice. It's not bad. How's that? Huh? No,
let me just ask you this. I don't know if you're listening on like Apple Music, Spotify, whatever you listen on. Was there any songs that you listened to and like added to your library or like songs or anything like that?
No, not because I didn't like it, just because I just kind of crammed. Mm-hmm. Like I did his album and my album back to back last night. Yeah. But I know that some of the stuff on my list would definitely go in there. Like my number one for sure. I did notice that the guy kind of leans into a hook so hard you can almost feel the curve. But that's okay, Yeah. Not to, I gotta have something to say about it. But it's not terrible, dude. It really isn't. I had fun. I was gonna make fun of you because you're like, for a guy that doesn't like Eminem, this guy sounds a lot like fucking Eminem. But you already said that shit, so I was like, oh, okay, so it's not just me. Now I can't really, and I was also like, I'm not gonna fuck with you, but I'm kind of gonna fuck with him a little bit.
Yeah, and I mean, it is like interesting that this song or this album, like, it's so. I mean, I get what you said, like the hooks, the choruses. He definitely put like an emphasis on those, making those catchy. Not to say that he like slacked with verses or on the rest of the song, but I could tell that like those were sort of the main parts of the songs, as choruses usually are, that like he really wanted to perfect and get good. But it was also like I was honestly kind of skeptical at first because I opened this album and I saw that it was like towards the start of his career. I mean, I'm interested in like cover arts of albums and songs, and I saw the cover art, which just looks like, a teenager on like Photoshop or something, and I was really kind of skeptical, and I was like, okay, I guess I'll give this a listen. But it sounded like so professional, especially for the time, and really good, and it really defied my expectations. It was something I really liked, and yeah, had multiple songs that I am added to my liked songs and like will probably listen to whenever they come on.
I mean, and the cover art, you gotta remember this was 2008, I think. So Saul was big at the time. So
yeah,
and he kind of is like he wants to play games with his victims. That's why he did the Jigsaw thing. Like I knew Chancy would love the cover art because Chancy's a horror movie expert. So I mean, And just the fact that was his first album I ever saw, the cover art like fucking kind of sold me on it. Because I'm like, anybody who puts horror movie elements into their like album covers, I love. Like horrorcore artists do that all the time because it's like honoring the movies.
And yeah, and I actually was interested. It just pops into my head as you were talking, but like a lot of it is like older Eminem sounds and whatnot. And then there's one song that I still liked, but thought was like, it could still go in the album. It just felt a bit different from all the other songs, which was I Can't Decide.
No,
I thought for that one there was like parts of it, like the heavily auto-tuned, like almost T-Pain sounding voice was like really something I was definitely not expecting from this album. I did like it, and I do like that song. It was just like I heard it and I was like, oh, this is different from everything I've heard so far on the album.
Let's do the top fives because we'll get into the songs when we do those. I guarantee.
All right.
I guarantee it. But so I actually had 4 honorable mentions because how could you not? It's fucking amazing CD. I mean, there actually are songs in this CD I really don't like. That they're just kind of like too generic rap, and I can skip over them if I'm not listening to the whole CD like front to back. But I'm not introducing you as my first honorable mention because that's just a catchy ass song, and like my mom was even singing along to the chorus of that song in the car one time. So I mean, like, and it's true. I fucked many girls in my life that like I would introduce to my mother. Like everybody has. Like it's just you've been with people in your life in ways where you're not going to introduce that person to your parents. Like it's just a simple fact of life, and it's a catchy song for that matter. Like, and the next one is "You Are My Enemy," because "You Are My Enemy" is like it's an amazing like revenge song, and like I love the whole. I like that he had the whole feud with like Eazy's wife, and but I like that he dropped it now. Like he doesn't talk about it anymore really at all because he didn't like hype on it for like 15 years like a lot of artists do. Like he just let it go kind of. But and then Hot 16s. I mean, there's no better way to open the fucking album than with Hot 16s. Like it's just it's the second song I heard of his because after I heard Sack My Pants, I went back to the first track and put it on, and I was just like, oh my God, he is so fucking talented. Like, how is this guy not famous already? And then my last honorable mention was Pillow Man. Because to this day, I don't get what he fucking is trying to say in the song to this day. Like, I've listened to the song for 15 years, and I don't fucking get what he's trying to say in it.
And it's really just creepy. Strange. Like,
it's creepy.
Yeah, it gives almost like this Saw vibe of like creepy, and I'm like, I don't, because at the same time it like sounds creepy, and then he's saying I'm the Pillow Man, and I'm like, what?
Like the lyrics, the lyrics literally are like, "I'm the Pillow Man,"
and he's changing his voice to like sound like honestly comedic to me. Like I was listening to that and like trying not to laugh, and I was like, okay.
Oh, trust me, he doesn't need females on his tracks ever because his voice changing is perfection. Like he does. Yeah. He does so many. There's this one song he does on another album called Ramona that's fucking hilarious because it's basically all him in a female voice, and it's about like a groupie that like was like obsessed with him and his label mate at that point. So it's just fucking hilarious. Like his voices are amazing. I love his voices. That's another thing. Kind of made me think of Eminem because like Eminem could do voices too back in the day, like a lot. So my number 5 though was "Where Will I Go." Because that song is heartbreaking if you've ever been like an outcast anywhere. Like that song you can relate to in every fucking way. Like the whole line of like, well, the popular kids have like 100 friends. Like, what am I supposed to do? Like, and it's just like everybody felt that. Like that's such like a high school song. I was out of high school when I heard it, but still it made shit real. And then number 4 for me was "I Am Raw." Because one, Swizz is on it. And I fucking love Swizz. Him and Hopsin. The next CD that Hopsin did actually was a CD with Swizz. Yeah. And Swizz is unique. His voice is so fucking unique. I love Swizz. Like it gets annoying once in a while.
It's an interesting rap voice. The first I think that is the first time he's on this album. And I heard his voice and it didn't take me out, but I started thinking and I was like, oh, this is an interesting voice. And then it just like got pretty much back into it. But yeah, he definitely has a unique rapping voice.
Yeah. I mean, he sounds like he's on fucking helium all day, but
Yeah.
But I mean, I love his voice. I don't know why. I like unique voices when it's rapping. Like Anybody Killer, it's the same thing. Like when I haven't brought him on the show yet, but when he raps, he's Native American and he has like a lisp. So when he raps, like the lisp is very present, but it makes his music sound better in my opinion. No, I've had other people disagree with me on that, But and like I am raw. Like everybody can relate to that too. Like it's just when you're so emotionally worn that you're like just feeling like you're raw, like that nothing can hurt you anymore because you're already down to the bare.
Yeah.
And number 3 is Nocturnal Rainbows. Nocturnal Rainbows is just an amazing fucking like song. Like, because he gets into religion a lot more in his later CDs. Because he does these singles in between CDs called Ill Mind to Hopsin. I think he's up to like 9 now. And I think it's number 7. He does like a whole like 5-minute religious rap, and it's fucking like basically just questioning religion and questioning why he should believe in a God when he can't see anything, which is the whole point of Nocturnal Rainbows, is that you can't see it. Like it's rainbows at night, you can't see them. But so
if you're into that, like kind of like questioning God rap stuff, I have a couple songs that I would love to send to you that are exactly like that I think you would like.
Oh, send them to me. I'll definitely check them out. But number 2 was I Can't Decide, because I love that song. Like that to me, I mean, it's not the life I had growing up for fucking sure, but it relates to the life that a lot of Americans have had growing up in inner cities. And at the time when I was really listening to the CD a lot, I was on my way up to Massachusetts from New York with my brother's girlfriend. And like when this song came on, she actually started tearing up over it. Like that's how powerful this song is, that I've actually seen people cry over it. Because it's sad. Like it's like when kids in the streets can't decide whether to actually like be gangbangers or like live their lives the way they should. Like it's a hard decision for them because they have nothing else. So I love that song. Like it speaks a lesson, it speaks a story. Like, and then number 1 is the song that made me love Hopsin from the beginning more than anything, and made me fucking call him Black Eminem basically. I'm Not Crazy, because that when I've turned so many people onto Hopsin just by playing that song and being like, yo, listen to Black Eminem. And I put on that song, and there was like, oh my God. Like, I mean, and Swizz on that song too is amazing. Like, and the fucking lyrics, like, I'll run to an orphanage and beat a baby's face in with a bag of oranges. Like, come the fuck on. That's hilarious. Like, if you have that kind of humor for that kind of dark music, that's fucking hilarious. Like,
as soon as I heard that, maybe it is the Eminem vibes, but as soon as I heard that line, I started thinking about like this interview clip of Eminem proving that there are like words that rhyme with orange. Because someone brought up like, oh, you can't rhyme with orange, nothing rhymes with it, and Eminem was like, oh yeah, and then did like 4 bars rhyming with orange.
I mean, whole fucking like, I'll masturbate with sandpaper while watching The View. Like, come on, like, who thinks of this shit? Like, who thinks of that? Like, I wouldn't even think of saying that, and like, it's just, and I say some fucked up shit in my life, but like, that's just the brilliance of Hopsin, and like, it's funny because after like this CD, the next one, he kind of goes away from that kind of music a little bit. Like he goes to more meaningful music. I mean, he still gets vicious and will kill people on other songs, but still, like he goes away from like that really extreme like shit. Like, but still, like, I'm Not Crazy, just a classic, and plus the beat for it is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
I've used that line so many times in my life though. When people like ask me like, "Are you crazy?" I'm like, "I'm not crazy. I'm just a tad bit strange."
Yeah. I love that one, and then might be a bit of a sidetrack, but on another note, I really enjoyed the show Big Bang Theory, and a recurring line there from the main character Sheldon is, "I'm not crazy. My mother had me tested."
You're right, yeah.
Which like that along with like I'm just a tad bit strange, I think are my 2 like favorite comebacks to like my favorite comebacks to people calling me crazy.
And thank you, Malachi. Yeah, I'm more than a tad bit strange. Thank you. But
I'm glad somebody said it.
Shut up, Chancy. But
Chancy said that verse in his head. He heard a tad bit strange, and he was like, "No way, you're way more than a tad."
I I admit it. But I never fucking hid my weirdness. But I would have gotten a lot less trouble in the podcast world, Chancy, if I hid my weirdness. But which way you want to go, Heroek? I mean, well, what?
I'm down to talk about my top 5. I mean,
yeah, that's what I meant. My brain went to bracket mode for a minute. I don't know why.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I mean, I'll try to put them in a top 5, but again, I was having some trouble. I think number 1. Actually, you know what? Yeah, I'll go reverse order. I'll start with 5 and then try to work up to 1. Number 5, I think, would have to be "You Are My Enemy," because that was a really good song.
The drums, man, the fucking drums in that song.
The drums, and like as he was speaking, I could like hear the like anger in his voice he has, and like everything like that. Like I could tell that like, yeah, when like the person he's talking about is definitely his enemy. Next after that, number 4, I would probably have to go with I think I'm Not Crazy. I think I'm Not Crazy would be number 4. Either that or no, you know, I'm Not Crazy, probably honorable mention, and then Hot 16's at number 4, because that was the first like solo Hopsin song I had heard, and I was hooked, man. I heard that and I was like, yep, I'm listening to this album, definitely. I'm gonna get through the whole thing. Number 3, I'd probably say I Can't Decide. Despite the auto-tune vocals, like you said, great story, emotional, tells a story that, you know, is too true in some cases.
Honestly, I almost feel like those are not auto-tune. I really feel like it's not. Like, he can do amazing things with his voice, so I don't think they're auto-tune. I think it's just like his way of singing that part.
All right. I'll go back and listen, but yeah, it was auto-tune or not, it was like a different sound that was appreciated at the end of the day. Yes, I liked it. But yeah, it just added like a new style to that song that was different from the album, but I think at the same time, like, did it in a good way, like made it stand out from the rest of the album. And then number 2, I'd probably put How You Like Me Now, which is like a sick, you don't like it? I thought it was sick. I love it.
I just don't like the flow in it. Like, it's too like it doesn't flow smoothly. It's like a rough flow to it. Like, and I don't like the how do you like me now? Like, I mean, maybe I've heard too many times, but it just gets old, like, after a while.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of those songs I skip.
It's up there more for the instrumental for me, because that beat, at least to me, is just insane, and I really liked it, and it really like got me pumped up. And then first is probably I'm Not Introducing You, because I mean, it's such a catchy song, such a good song. And I mean, if it can make, you know, someone's mom sing along to it, then I think it's just a great song in general. And so I'd have to put that at number 1, I think.
And plus, the piano in that song is fucking off the key. Like, it's fucking amazing. Like,
yeah.
And plus, it's relatable. And did you skip number 2, or was I imagining shit?
No, number 2 was the How You Like Me Now. I think you might have just forgotten about it because you were so taken aback by me liking it.
Possible. Well, Chancy, what are your top 5 for Hopsin?
Oh God.
Nothing.
Nothing.
No.
Nothing.
When you said "oh God," it actually sounded like how Hopsin says it when he's trying to do like a girl's voice.
Okay.
You're trying to say Chancy has a girl's voice?
I was going to say...
Chancy's a master linguist as well when it comes to changing his voice around, so...
I mean, I'm all right. But, you know, subpar at best, really. Don't get your hopes up.
12:47 p.m. and the boy ain't right.
Yeah. I mean, 11. Who's counting? Number 5 for me was actually Nocturnal Rainbows. It was tough for me, kind of not getting focused on, because like 4 and 3 I liked for the same reason, so they could really be interchangeable. 4 being Kill Her and 3 being You Are My Enemy. I thought
Kill Her's not bad. I like Kill Her to some degree. It just didn't make my list.
I thought the backstory behind all of it, like kind of breaking down the situation, not really telling too much, but telling enough to tell the story.
Yeah. I got that sense of like he's not he's not specific. He's not talking about who he's talking about, but he doesn't have to. Like it's still.
Oh, he literally says in one of the songs, like Eazy-E's doing cartwheels in his grave. Like he tells exactly who the fuck it is he's talking about. You know who it is.
Yeah. It might have been what was it? I think You Are My Enemy was a bit more vague, but I might have mixed the two up, but one of them he was a bit vague and like
You Are My Enemy is You Are My Enemy is a bit vague because it's just I believe because he wanted it to be more of a generic like anybody can relate to it song about
which is exactly how it works. Like like there are people that I'm sure it applies to, and I mean
Oh, I've had ex-girlfriends that song applies to when I fucking blast that shit when I broke up with them, like, and kill her.
Send them a link to it. Hey, thinking of you, send them those 2 songs.
Jesus Christ.
There's no Jesus here, sir. But Chancy, go on.
Number 2 was Sag My Pants.
Thank you. I was hoping somebody would have it on the list because I've heard that song too many times, so I can't get excited about it anymore. But that is one of the best diss tracks ever fucking made. And
it's pretty good.
I don't know if I said it, but that definitely would have been an honorable mention for me if I didn't say it. Like, it was just up there waiting to get into my top 5.
I mean, I'll have a fat ninja sit on him, Rick Ross. Like, that's fucking hilarious. Like, and like
the amount of times I think I have heard more songs like making fun of Rick Ross than I have actual Rick Ross songs.
Yeah, I think I may have heard one. I think I may have heard one Rick Ross song in my life. All I know is like the whole like "You've Been Rick Ross" thing when like "Never Gonna Give You Up" like comes on a screen instead of
and there's a funny one. There's a funny Macklemore song where he's talking about like going to the club and these girls, and he has a line in it where he goes, "This girl's booty was bigger than Rick Ross's." Was bigger than Rick Ross's stomach or something like that, and it was like hilarious. The first time that I heard it,
and the fact that he kills Drake and Macklemore, I fucking love. Like, I love when underground rappers want to take out mainstream rappers and they talk about killing them. And it's just like, I don't need Viagra tonight, honey. Let's go. Like that song did it. Let's go. But Chancy, continue.
I don't know how to follow that, but number 1 was
Chancy just accepted it.
Hi.
I'm done.
I have hit the ripcord and we're safely coasting back to Dick Joke Island. Anybody who's a fan of Bill Hicks would get it.
Do you have a jumpsuit?
No, I don't have a jumpsuit. Number 1 was Hot 16s. That was solid.
I really like that.
I mean, Hot 16s is definitely not number 1 material. I don't think that's why it was an honorable mention for me because I mean, it's just not to me. It's not a number 1 song by far. But I mean, you're entitled to your opinion, sir.
To be fair, I didn't think it was number 1 either, but it's still a great song and like definitely deserves credit for being the song that like sort of turned me on to Hopsin. Like it was the first one that I heard again and like made me want to keep listening. So, like a song's got to be pretty good to do that.
Actually, I think I did. Oh, no, actually, no. Hot 16s I put on for a second after I put on Sag My Pants because Sag My Pants is the song that got me into Hopsin. Because when I got into Hopsin, this CD just released and it was his second CD. And like I put on Hot 16, I put on Sag My Pants. And just the chorus in that song. I'll sag my pants until my ass shows. Because I'm an asshole, like it's just like it made me think of what my dad always said about that. Because like of course, like every other white kid in the 2000s, I sag my pants. So until you find out what that means in jail, then you're like, pull them up.
You're wearing overalls with suspenders, you know.
No, I wasn't redneck. But all right, well, it's that time because Chancy does have to get back to work. So let's get into the final CD in this awesome episode we have so far. And Sir Chancelot, what CD do you dare bringeth to this show?
I brought the Offspring's "Let the Bad Times Roll."
We never have sex anymore. We never roll around on the floor like we did so long ago. You never yell at me anymore. You never want to even the score like you did so long ago. But you're still with me, so I guess I'm not complaining. And you always leave my dinner on the stove.
I didn't quite know what I was getting myself into at the time because I went based off of one song off of the deluxe deluxe version, and then I was like, oh, because like a lot of times, fun fact, if you didn't hear it on the episode you watched, a lot of times when I pick an album, I go to my list and I just hit random, and the Offspring song in question came up, and I was like, oh. So then I pulled up the album, and it was like 5 versions of the same song. I'm like, oh, well, that's not going to work. So I'm like looking around, and I find this album, and I found it, and I'm like, okay, go. And then last night I'm listening to it, and I'm like, what the fuck did I just do? What have I done?
It definitely. I was listening through the album all in one sitting, and I got to the end of the album, and I was like, okay. I was like, they have this on here for some reason.
Right?
I mean, like, the first half of the song is like original songs. They're doing all these rock things. I like it. And then the second half, like, really just sounds like, you know, it's just random things. They do like a guitar version of classical music. They have, you know, like a softer, like calmer version of one of the songs above. And then they just have the exact same song. The only difference is they swap the lyrics to it in a different language, which is like, I mean,
And what's going on, Dave, buddy? Can't wait to see you in a couple weeks. But my good friend from Dr. PF, and I fuck it up every time, but I forget me, Dave. I fucking can never remember the name of your fucking podcast. I always forget the name of your podcast.
Yeah, no, I mean, probably a good thing because it interrupted the tangent I was about to go on with the end of this album. But yeah,
if you want to type it out, good sir, I will put it on the screen. But so is this the first time you listen to Offspring, Heroek, or no?
so
there it is.
I had
Oh,
heard...
how do I forget the one word that has my fucking name in it? Dr. P.F. Jeremiah and his infernal roommate. Yes, I forgot the one word that has my fucking name partly in it.
Why am I not surprised at this? This is not a shock to me.
So I had heard the Offspring. I mean, I didn't really know the band. I wasn't a fan of them. But for years, I've listened to You're Gonna Go Far, Kid, and had that in my liked songs. And
You know
so I
what's funny
found
about
that
that?
this album was... What?
You know what's funny about that fact right there?
What?
That's not even one of their classics. That's one of their newer songs. It's like,
Yeah. So I've been listening to that for a while, and I saw that this album is by them, and I was like, okay, I get, you know, a new taste of the Offspring, another shot at it. And I think my second
Sorry.
album was a different album. But no, there were songs that I did like on it. And I mean, like, honestly, I haven't seen what like the normal version of this album is, because I listened to the deluxe version as well, not the normal one. I haven't seen the normal one. I have a feeling that the normal one's probably better because it just cuts out these last couple of songs.
Yeah,
But,
I mean the very last one for sure.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, all right. Well, let me put it into perspective as someone who's been a fan of Offspring since the '90s. Like this CD, like I love Rage and Grace, Rise and Fall, and Days Go By. Like those are two amazing Offspring albums, the two albums that came out before this one. And like I've been saying for years, like Offspring still has it. They're still amazing. Well, this CD has changed my mind. Like they need, like I love you guys.
The Offspring's amazing. They still have it. Listen to this. Maybe they don't. Maybe they don't still got it.
Like seriously, guys, like either hang up your bootstraps at this point or fucking just tour and do your greatest hits. Like seriously, because there was one or two songs in this that were fucking amazing, and then the rest of them were just like, what is this? This is a watered down version of what the Offspring used to be like in the 90s and 2000s. Like even in the 2010s.
I have to be fair. There were like towards the start of the album, there were songs that I legitimately liked and haven't now in my liked songs and will probably listen to when I'm shuffling music and they come on. I just can't get over the fact that the end of this album was like really, it seems like stuff that I would find on like YouTube or something rather than the actual band releasing it.
Exactly. I mean, it's just like, I mean, when Chancy first suggested the CD, I was like, I actually said to him, like, oh, sweet, I haven't had a chance to listen to the CD yet. Like, I was actually excited for it. How fucking fast that changed. Like, how fast that changed that.
And
like,
it's also like some of the, because I mean, when I'm listening to it, like I see the names of the songs coming up, and I was like, I mean, so obviously, like in the Hall of the Mountain King, as soon as the song started, I recognized the like tune, the melody. I knew exactly what it was, but I didn't know it by name. So I saw like a name that sounds as epic as like in the Hall of the Mountain King, and I knew that the Offspring was this like hard rock band, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be awesome. And I was like, oh, okay.
They're actually, oh my god, what the hell? See, it's funny you bring that up because there actually is another band I like that that song made me think of another band I like, and like they did a whole song about like in the Hall of the Mountain King, like they turned it into like a fantasy album about like actually going into like breaking into like the huge mansion of the Mountain King.
That's cool.
I can't remember what the fucking band name is though, and it's pissing me off so bad. Like, but it's a very symphonic metal band, but I can't think of who the fuck they are at this point. But yeah,
they all start to sound the same after a while.
To some degree until you hear the lyrics. But yeah, but I gotta find that album though. I'm sure I can find it somewhere. But Chancy, what were your top 5 for your own CD though?
Oh, dude, it was so it was really rough because you'll notice a distinct change in sound, and part of that's because on this album they actually parted ways with one of the original members, which was the bass player, who did some background vocals for a lot of their stuff. So that you'll notice that they don't quite sound the same.
Is that what it is? Oh,
yeah.
The background
yeah.
Like the background voice that did like Life Goes On and
yeah.
The kids are all right.
Yeah.
Okay. I knew that was missing. Yeah.
So there was a lot of that. That was really, because like when I first listened to it, I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, this isn't the Offspring. This is not. This is a miscarriage of musical justice. What the fuck is happening here?
And to a degree, you were right. If they were missing one of the members, like to a degree, at that time, it wasn't really the Offspring because they had lost a member.
Yeah, and I did a little reading, and I was like, oh wow, the bass player and the drummer. Okay, well, all right. And I like a lot of their old stuff personally, as a fan who was listening to it in the 90s, old enough to remember, like Ixnay the Hombre and shit. Number 5 for me on this thing was Coming For You. Number 4 was Lullaby. And I'm waiting for the pop I'm going to get on number 2. Number 3 was Hassan Chop, because I remember the actual Looney Tunes cartoon fucking that had Hassan do the chopping. So I was like, fuck yes. Number 2 was In the Hall of the Mountain King. I couldn't fucking, I'm like, I got to get 5 out of this fucking thing. I got to get 5 out of this fucking thing. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. And I couldn't be pissed about it because this is my fucking fault.
Go with the song that's been famous for how many decades, you know?
Oh, I
centuries.
mean, when I saw it, I was like, I know this one. Because my first love was classical music. So I was like, oh, fucking A. I wonder if it's going to be like I expect. It was exactly like I expected. I was like, okay, number 2 for you. Number 1 was the piano acoustic version of Gone Away. There's something about the way they did that song that really did it justice. That's the reason I picked this album.
Oh, fuck.
Jared,
All right,
you might leave the podcast.
Jesus has left the chat.
Chancy might just be you and I from now on.
No, all right, so what were your top 5 heroic? Because I'm dying to get to mine.
I mean, mine top 5. I'll try to speed through them because I mean I can talk about a couple of them, but most of them I don't have much to say. Number 5 was probably Behind Your Walls. Number 4, I have number 4. I just have the image of Jeremy's jaw dropping stuck in my head now.
well, now you know how my wife feels, but okay.
Number 4, I have Coming For You. I had that at number 4. I was also thinking of Hassan Chop making this list. I'm gonna put that as an honorable mention. I do like the inspiration they took from that and the sampling of it. Number 3, I think would have to be number 3 is I'm gonna put the Opioid Diaries, and then I'm gonna keep it interchangeable with what's gonna come at number 2, because I love just songs that have like an important message in general, and especially like I watched the music video for this one also, and that like really hammered it home. Like, wow, like they're as much as they're like, you know, rock on, long live rock, whatever. This was sort of a break that was like, hey, this is a serious thing, like that should be dealt with. And I always love when artists do that. So that's at number 3. Number 2, which could also be a tie with that, is We Never Have Sex Anymore. I heard like the horns. I heard the horns in it, and I mean, I'm a big fan of like brass or horns in music in general, and it gives it this like sort of bouncy, almost jazz feeling, and it was an interesting like blend of sounds that I ended up really liking. And I watched the music video for it, which is just unhinged. And then to finish it off, title track number 1, I put Let the Bad Times Roll. I really liked the chorus on that actually, and so yeah, that's gonna round out my top 5.
All right, well, 1, Let the Bad Times Roll does not make my top 5 at all, because that song is the song that immediately made me get pissed off and be like, fucking Offspring, what the fuck? Because usually their title tracks are fucking incredible. Americana, Days Go By, Rise and Fall, Rage and Grace are both amazing songs. I mean, like, usually their title tracks are amazing, but like, fuck.
He's literally pain. He's pained right now. He's suffering. He's going through it.
We used to listen to the Americana CD while playing basketball in the driveway as fucking kids, man. Like, I have good memories attached to Offspring. Like, we had one of those fucking gray boom boxes in the fucking driveway, plugged in, fucking blasting.
Americana.
Americana is one of the best songs ever.
You mean albums? Well, the song's okay too, but
no, the song's the fucking best part of that CD. Like,
I mean,
like when he does that fast, like singing, like almost like rapping, like I fucking love it. And like he does it on that, and he did on one of the songs on Raging Grace, Rise and Fall. Like, he
Seems
did
like
one
you guys
song.
could have a whole nother podcast episode just on Americana and the song versus Americana and the album.
Oh, it'll come on. It'll come on. I thought about bringing Americana on the show multiple times. Like, it'll come on eventually, but I actually had three honorable mentions for this CD though, even though as much as I shit on it. Breaking These Bones was my first honorable mention because that was actually a good song. I enjoyed that song, and and they're singing about getting older a lot in the CD, which I can relate to that because I grew up with them, so I get that. I get what they're saying. Behind Your Walls is a very like grown up song for them too because it's about relationships. So, and then speaking of Americana, This Is Not Utopia is my last honorable mention because it basically is a sequel to Americana. Like, that's basically a sequel to Americana in a way. But my number 5 was Hassan Chop because that song is fucking amazing. And my number 4 is Guiere sus Covranches. Because I honestly didn't realize it was the same song as my number 3, but I didn't realize it was the same song until I looked up what it meant in French. But
you couldn't hear the fucking
the 2 songs.
Yeah, right? If you listen to the songs and you're like, this sounds a lot like We Don't Have Sex Anymore. Oh, wait.
I honestly didn't put it. I didn't. The melody's so different. I didn't put it together. Like,
it's fucking French, dude.
I don't speak French, dude. I live in America. I speak American.
No parlez-vous français.
Dude, the only thing I know about French is kissing.
And Heroek has left the chat.
And I need a minute. How do you not tell that these are the same song just translated?
I was stoned, but
That's no excuse.
My number 3 was We Never Have Sex Anymore.
Okay.
Because they're both going on there.
It's like fucking Death and Deja Vu around here.
And I actually played We Never Have Sex Anymore for my wife this morning. I'm like, hey, I found this new song.
Oh, I'll bet that went well.
She just laughed because it's not exactly true, but she just laughed because she knows it's not true. But and then number 2 was Coming for You, and then number 1 was Gone Away 2021.
I don't know why you're so shocked. I was expecting so much more.
No, my jaw dropped because I picked the same fucking thing for number 1. That's why my jaw dropped.
I was waiting for him to just back up the truck to dump all the shit on this thing. Like, I was like, I've got it coming. I gave it to him pretty.
Number 1 in the Hall of the the Mountain.
I would have been okay with it.
No, I am not giving my number 1 to an. I don't do tracks without lyrics usually, but Gone Away was an amazing song on Days Go By. So, like, a live version of it that's like kind of more acoustic is amazing. Like, I love that song to begin with. Like, that song is an amazing fucking song that I felt so many times in my life in the last like 5-6 years since it came out. So, like, I love that song. So that's why my number 1, because Gone Away is just like how I feel a lot of days. Like, I'm gone away from the world. Like, but so yeah, overall, it's Offspring. I can't fucking hate on them 100%, but this may be the worst album they ever did, and they really should just retire at this point or do greatest hits tours only, like all the other bands from the 90s. But at least it's not fucking Pixies.
or the Cottonmouth Kings. But
I would rather listen to Cottonmouth Kings. I would rather listen to Cottonmouth Kings.
I would rather literally stick my dick in a fucking dresser drawer, all right?
Casey, you heard him. Get on it.
I'm just saying. If I had to choose between Cottonmouth Kings and the dresser drawer gets a double date.
Chancy would just turn off the radio rather than listen to it. He'd be like, I'm okay sitting in silence for a bit.
Well,
yeah.
We have tackled all 3 CDs, 2 good and 1 but we have tackled all 3.
And which one he's talking about.
Yeah, me too. And we have to wrap it up now because someone has to get back to work, and I do another podcast for 45 minutes. So, but Heroek, thank you for coming on. We definitely gotta have you on again because this was a fun fucking episode.
I would love to come on again. Honestly, like when I first watched the episode, I was like, oh, you know what? It'll be nice. I come on, talk music, love doing that with whoever. I was not expecting to need to step off screen to compose myself from laughing so hard. No, thank you so much for having me on. It was a great time. I would love to come on again, especially for a bracket of any kind, Hopsin or otherwise.
We might need people for that, so I'll be in touch. But
all right.
If the timing works, because we're doing it at a very specific time for very specific people. But
I'll do better next time.
Well,
Chancy is gonna start an internal review process. Jeremy just looks over the album first before that's officially your pick, and then the other says yes or no. You need to pick a different one.
Yeah, no. If I did that, he would never get half his albums on here. So
yeah, facts. It's a fact.
Sunhouse would never have been on this damn show.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'll have to go back to that well sometime in the near future.
That well has been buried and there's a cow in it. Leave it shut. But Heroek, where can they find you? Where can they find your music, your podcast, everything you do?
Yeah, well, I just want to say thank you again for letting me come on, having a fantastic time. You can find me anywhere, mostly Heroek, as long as you spell it right, Heroek. It's the word Heroek, just spelled a bit funny. Instagram, Heroek Music. YouTube is just Heroek. Spotify and streaming services, same thing, just Heroek. I have, music of all kinds. I have dance, I have rap, I have lo-fi. I'm still, experimenting with different things. I don't stick to just one sound. And I'm really getting geared up to just work hard this summer, take over summer, because now that I have the time, I'm working so much harder. I found an old computer of mine, with a bunch of old files, granted half of which I physically cringed because of how bad they were and had to delete them. But otherwise found a couple that I'm going to try to finish and get out there. So yeah, I'd appreciate if you go listen to my stuff, even just give me a follow anywhere. And then podcast, same thing. It's just on my YouTube channel, Heroek.
All right. Well, check him out, folks. I've heard some of his beats and they're pretty sick. So check him out. Chancy, where can they find you besides staying in your doorway telling Casey we never have sex anymore?
I don't ever say that to Casey.
Oh, ever. I know. I've seen some messages come through that are just yeah. But
never would I ever. That's a lie, sir. That's a damn lie.
Ashamed of yourself.
Right? You trying to get me beat up? You can find me. I mean, she's got those tiny little hands. They're like stones.
Trying to get me hit with that Hassan chop.
For real.
She wakes up and chooses violence every day of the week. But
every single day.
Good morning.
I had a dream about you last night. That's never actually happened, but no. It's funny though, because she does have these tiny little stone hands and they fucking hurt. You can find me on Facebook and TikTok and Instagram are all under the Red Eye Roundtable. Twitter is Red Eye Table because apparently fuck my name, I guess. Fuck it.
They don't like shapes.
They don't like the whole name. They're just you know what? You get this. This is what you get, and you better fucking like it. You know what? I don't like it. I'm not afraid to say it. They can catch me here. That's a pretty constant, steady constant. And lurking around in the fog of your worst nightmare, where this album resides that I brought this week. Right next to your album from last night, Jeremy. Don't think it's not too far away. It's not too far away.
Cottonmouth Kings, All of the Kings is an amazing album.
No, it's amazingly bad.
The simple reaction, just no.
No.
Well, that's a big fuck you, sir. But you can, of course, find both of us on Facebook as Paranormal New Normal / Maniacal Music Musings podcast with the S group. Name change coming today.
And today it's changed.
It will be, but you can find us. I got time between podcasts this afternoon later. And you can find us on Instagram and Twitter as @JuggaloBastard. You can find us on TikTok as @JuggaloBastard Podcast. And you can find us on YouTube as Maniacal Music Musings or streaming live as of right now on Blind Knowledge Network, because all knowledge is blind.
Coming to you live.
All knowledge was blind until you don't have sex anymore. So, exactly, Chancy. Think about it. But your musers will be back on Tuesday with our regularly scheduled episode at our regularly scheduled place. Until then, we thank Heroek for coming on one more time, and peace out, motherfuckers.
Tonight, amen. It's all enough trying to survive, and to top it off, I gotta watch my back, cause these niggas wanna act up. Should I fight or should I run? Should I hide or get my gun? I can't decide.
Now see, Tyrone does whatever his homies do, just a dopey dude, and deep in his mind he knows he's cool. He ditching class cause he feel like he don't belong in school. Mama always yelling out, damn Tyrone, what's wrong with you? He wanna show the world he grew in some balls, abusing the law, 8 weeks in juvenile hall. This dude is the cause of a lot of shit. Don't know where his father went, never had no confidence, resorting to popping clips. His homies thought that they were violent assassins. They said, come on Tyrone, it's time to get active. We gon' roll up on this nigga, real solid and passive. Then you pull out the 9 and then blast him. We gon' roll to his crib, be careful shooting so you don't hit the kids. You down for it? Tyrone said, you know what it is. So they roll up, about to retaliate on his busted. Pop, pop, bitch ass motherfucker.
In the land of the killer, you better say your prayers tonight, amen. It's all enough trying to survive, and to top it off, I gotta watch my back, cause these niggas wanna act up. Should I fight or should I run? Should I hide or get my gun? I can't decide.
Tyrone's big ballin', getting the dough. Fuck bitches and hoes, still gripping the foes. Walk with his fist clenched, he was itching to blow shit. And all the local neighborhood niggas would know. It's like he was born to fit the streets, never had no chicken feet. Walked up to the local liquor store to get a Swisher Sweet. Before he walked in, some dudes was like, hey nigga, we don't play, nigga. They just shot him when his life's undone. The man inside the liquor store dialed 911. And at the same time, he's struggling trying to find someone. Screaming, help, help, stay alive, young son. The boy's gonna die and he knows that. A bullet went through his skull cap, he's barely breathing, and both of his eyeballs are rolled back. Oh crap, the people who witnessed it can't believe it, yo. Maybe it's linked to the drive-by he did a week ago.
In the land of the killer, you better say your prayers tonight, amen. It's all enough trying to survive, and to top it off, I gotta watch my back, cause these niggas wanna act up. Should I fight or should I run? Should I hide or get my gun? I can't decide.
Tyrone's dead, all over some dumb shit. His homies don't know who did it, they just got assumptions. Ready to wild out with a sentence to function, and drive by on some bitch niggas that dump clips. And OG was like, fuck it, he's dead now. So open up the 40 and take a sip and then pour the rest out. Y'all got me stressed now, shit, y'all need to chill out. Cause every time some shit be popping off, y'all put it still out. One of the younger homies like, fuck that, we gon' tug gas and bust back. Trust that. The OG was like, man, y'all need to be out here busting slugs. Y'all don't even know who the fuck it was. Y'all fucking bugs. Y'all gonna be dead taking this violent route. You little niggas always wildin' out. You need to get your shit straight and understand what your life about. Cause if a bullet hit your ass, believe your lights is out. The younger homie like, nigga, you don't run these streets. You ain't never been no fucking G. If I wanna bust my heat, it's up to me. And I know them niggas that kill T, the same niggas that we hit up the other week. Another homie like, nah, they ain't get back for that. Cause that's them niggas pulling up in the catalog. In
the land of the killer, you better say your prayers tonight. Amen. It's all enough trying to survive, and to top it off, I gotta watch my back, cause these niggas wanna act up. Should I fight or should I run? Should I hide or get my gun?